So I'm here today with Dr. Caroline Dean, who I've interviewed before, and we always like to catch up with the latest research and what's new in the field of studying magnesium and its benefits for the human body. And I will go into that. But first of all, Caroline, you've got some exciting news to report about something that's been going on in Hawaii. Is that right?
Oh, thank you. Yes. Yes. We meaning a customer service person, Julie Dickey, she retired. So I said, come over to Maui and let's do a study. And we collected 10 people, mostly from farmers market and some lectures I did, just 10 random people, put them on our basic 7 products, our 7 supplement formulas for 6 months. And
Mhm.
we came up with the most incredible information and results. And what we're doing, Naomi, is using epigenetic testing to test the methylation pathways in the body. And what they're using them for is to see if we can slow aging.
Wow.
And the big study that's out there on the marketplace right now is on Centrum Silver and Cocoa. They did a 2-year study. They had 12,000 people. They took 1,000 of those and did this epigenetic testing. How is Centrum Silver and Cocoa going to affect aging? Well, it slowed aging by 4 months. So, and they're publishing it. They published this study in Nature as if it's a big deal. And what did my study show? I know it's only 10 people, but even a study of one person can give you information. 7 of my people slowed their aging by 5 years to a
Woo.
year and a half.
Wowee.
6 people were 4 years and over that they slowed their aging after a mere 6 months. And the studies read like they read like a novel. Let me just quickly share one. Helen, and it's not her real name, at 70, after an acrimonious divorce and years of unexplained nerve and muscle symptoms that made her fear a neurological disease, she was afraid she had MS, but she never got diagnosed. Helen expected things to keep getting worse. Housebound due to the Maui lockdown with family health crises and doctor's visits interrupting her life, she still showed up fully for the 6-month Maui Reset study. Now, when she started, she's 70 chronologically. The pre study biological age was 63, 7 years younger than chronological. People in Maui are pretty healthy, even though they have all that she was having. And I thought, how can we slow her aging more than 7 years that she already is? And a second biological age epigenetic study said she was 12 years younger. But what happened, she slowed her age another 5 years in the 6 months.
That's
And
incredible.
yeah, it is incredible. I did a symptom questionnaire, basic symptoms. She went from 153 score down to 68. So she had a 55% overall reduction. And she said her deep fatigue, muscle tension, cramps, bone aches, brain fog, panic attacks, dizziness, numbness, tingling, cold hands and feet all dramatically improved. Her thyroid labs normalized even as she weaned off her thyroid medication. She wasn't able to drive. She was pretty much housebound. We had to go to her cottage to do her first blood test. Now she drives herself everywhere, walks with ease, and described her energy as fabulous.
Wow, that's
So she was
unbelievable.
pretty joyful about that. So, that's one. I could give you all 10 studies, but of course, we don't have time for all of them. But that's what people want to hear. They want to hear, well, what is happening to
Mm.
people when they start taking dietary supplements? If you take a synthetic supplement like Centrum Silver, maybe you'll gain 4 months, but that might have been due to the cocoa, because cocoa
Yeah.
is high in magnesium and polyphenols. So this is what we're going to be telling our practitioners, our distributors, and our customers, that things can improve so dramatically that they can be captured on these new blood tests.
The amazing thing is that lady got her life back in a very short space of time. That's what's astounding.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I mean, she must have been over the moon.
Oh, definitely, very much so.
So the proof is in the pudding, isn't it?
It is, but as you know, because you've been using our formulas, the proof is in the right pudding.
Hmm.
What we've got in the marketplace now is dietary supplements. A lot of them are synthetic.
Mm.
What I keep harping about with magnesium is people are using these magnesium compounds that are hard to absorb, because that compound has to break apart in the blood into magnesium and whatever else it's attached to,
Hmm.
and allow that ion of magnesium that's riding around to be absorbed. But ions of magnesium bind up immediately with other things, like in the fluoride drugs. A lot of our common drugs now are made with fluoride molecules to make them better absorbed through the fatty cell membrane. So you've got the Prozacs, you've got inhaled anesthetics, you've got nasal sprays. Look at the drugs you're taking. Look them up on Wikipedia for the chemical formula. If there's an F there, that's fluoride, and fluoride will break down in the gut from these drugs. The drug companies say, well, that's we put it in the petri dish and nothing happens. Well, the microbiome, the bacteria in the gut, love to break things down. So then fluoride is released, and it'll start binding with magnesium and actually make a brittle compound that will precipitate in joints and tendons. One of the big fluoride drugs is ciprofloxacin, a
Rex tail.
well-known. Mm. And it will release some of its fluoride, bind up with magnesium. And what's one of the black box warnings of Cipro is tendon rupture.
We've
And
seen it,
no,
yeah.
yeah, I don't think anybody is saying what I'm saying, but I'm just putting together common sense information. So we've got these magnesium compounds. They're not breaking apart, but what is Remag? It's a stabilized ion of magnesium that will stay stable in the liquid for years.
Hmm.
We've shown that. We've got shelf life studies of this magnesium. We've
Hmm.
done university studies. At Purdue, we did the studies where we shown a kind of a laser through our liquid magnesium Remag, and it did not bounce off any material substance because it's in the submicroscopic ions, picometer size.
Hmm.
So that's why our magnesium is so important. I get um, questions from former patients. Most of them, my customers go through our awesome customer service, but I'm talking to someone right now, said, well, my son-in-law, who's a doctor, said I should take some sort of MAG-ATP formula. Now, it's been around since 2017. It's a compound, it's a double compound. I think magnesium taurate and magnesium diglycinate. And what I do now is look these formulas up on Supco. I don't
Hmm.
know if you've heard of Supco, Suppco. It's
Hmm.
a supplement analysis company.
Wow.
Dr. Mark Hyman
Oh,
is
yeah.
working with some of his friends on this company.
Hmm.
They're going to go commercial soon, but in the meantime, what they've done, seriously, Naomi, they've taken 160,000 supplements, and through AI, of course, they have scored them on 30 different factors, like if they're doctor endorsed, if they're third party tested. Like our formulas were all sports certified, which makes sure there's no drugs in the formulas. So what I did with this Mag ATP was look it up. They don't even have a subcore score. They haven't. I think I asked Rock, and they said, well, they haven't completed their whatever analysis. They've been around since 2017. This is what we all have to do to put up the trust score. Our trust score for Remeg, 9.75. You can't do much better than that unless you do the $1 billion drug study.
Mhm.
So, what you have to look at, we're talking about, yes, nutrients are necessary, they can help you, but they have to be able to be absorbed. They can't be synthetic, they can't have heavy metals. Some of these formulas, you'll look them up and they haven't even had testing for heavy metals. So that's what we have to be careful about now, which I know you are in your clinic and formulary.
Yeah, it really matters the quality of your products. That's the thing, and I
Yeah.
think you have to understand and research and put your trust in people as well. I mean, I've been, you know, talking about Remag for a long, long time, and it was only after my own incredibly positive experience with it that I started using it. And actually, for me, it was a very, very quick turnaround of a few symptoms that I had. And actually, talking about drugs as well and the issues people have, I was thinking this morning about, one of the widely used drugs in this country is omeprazole to lower stomach acid. And of course, that really depletes your magnesium. And you find that most elderly people are on this drug now. And of course, it doubles your risk of heart attack. And I do wonder if that is because it depletes your magnesium so much. Do you know much about that?
Yes, yes, I've been hearing about that. The black box warnings on these acid blockers, they do
Mm,
say it lowers your magnesium, and it also interrupts the absorption of all your minerals.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it's really quite disruptive. And what they say about people who get, gnarly stomachs and heartburn and everything, oh, it's too much acid. No, what it is a reflux of pancreatic enzymes from the small intestine getting into the stomach and causing all this roiling
Mm,
because you don't have enough stomach acid to
that's it.
digest your food. And
Yeah.
that's where we start looking, oh, we'll take a little bit of apple cider vinegar before the meal, a little couple of teaspoons and some water, and sip that with the meal. Or even just quitting the ultra processed foods, quitting the fatty fried foods, quitting the sugars, and eating whole foods, chewing well, don't drink with your meal, and your
No,
stomach
agree.
will start to respond.
And I also think a massive role that stress has a huge role to play in digestive issues these days. I think everyone's breathing so shallow, in such a shallow way that
Yeah.
they are tense. The stomach is tense, and you
Yeah.
realize that so many of these digestive issues are due to tension and not
Yeah.
eating peacefully, not eating. Most people
Mhm.
are running around and not sitting at the table. So I think stress is a huge, and of course, stress depletes your magnesium more and more. So the whole thing's wound up in so many different things, isn't it?
Yes, as soon as you start talking about stress, I took a deep breath, and I took a breath that drops my diaphragm. And I
Yeah.
thought, oh, my stomach's tense. We have
Yeah.
to check in with our stomach and our diaphragms. This is where they tell you to practice. You just lie down and make sure that when you inhale, your stomach rises. And that means your lungs are filling, they're pushing your diaphragm down, and your stomach is going to rise. Otherwise, breathing high, I mean, you can even get into dizziness and whatever, because breathing high will have you retaining carbon dioxide, and you'll kind of gas yourself a little bit. And the there's so many hacks, biohacks or whatever they call them now. I'm reading them on X, and these breathing exercises are gold. There's one for sleep that I've been actually really amazed by, where you're lying down, you're trying to sleep, you can't. You inhale for 4 counts, you hold the breath for 7 counts, and then you exhale for 8 counts. And they
Mhm.
don't have to be slow, slow, slow. You don't want to give yourself sort of head tension. And that just it drops the level of stress. It is especially helpful if you're diaphragmatic breathing. But
That's
any of these breath hacks or whatever are going to be helpful, because we aren't taking care of that part of our bodies. Actually, I don't know if you've noticed, Naomi, there's so much now about lifestyle in all the even studies. There's, well, we have to get our sleep, which means you turn off your phone and try to turn off the electricity at night, to get your sleep. Morning sunshine, get a walk in, get some exercise, stay away from sugar and ultra processed foods. So they're getting back to the lifestyle. And I think part of that is because they're leaping away from dietary supplements. And I'll explain what I think is happening here. I think so many dietary supplements are synthetic, and there's so much hype and hoopla about it that people aren't getting the results, and they're saying, well, what else can I do?
Mhm.
And also a lot of the podcasters, they're medically oriented. A lot of them are doctors, and they never learned about nutrients.
No.
And the third part of all that is, I think most symptoms people are getting are from magnesium deficiency.
Mm.
When you consider that 80% of known metabolic functions in the body require magnesium, 80%.
Mhm.
And now it's up to 600 to 800 different enzyme processes use magnesium, require magnesium as a cofactor. And you keep reading articles, oh, 300, 325. No, you can find the studies. I know the studies. I've written about the studies in my latest magnesium book. Oh, it's backwards.
Great.
Magnesium, the missing link to total health. You know it.
Yeah.
And we're up to the point where magnesium is the king of nutrients. If
Mhm.
you don't get enough, because it causes the laxative effect, if you're taking a magnesium compound, you end up still having magnesium deficiency symptoms and trying to grab whatever's being marketed to you.
Mm.
So you have the lifestyle people, oh, it's all about lifestyle. And then you have the super hacking people with the methylene blue and the DMSO and the MMS, chlorine dioxide. Oh, these are going to be, those are all super antioxidants to deal with all the waste products from, well, yeast overgrowth or just metabolism, because we're not getting enough magnesium, which is an antioxidant itself, and we're not getting enough vitamin C. I
Mhm.
just finished writing 3 sugar books, and I even did, finally they made me do a recipe book.
It's lovely,
And
that book. I got that.
yeah, and this is what to detox your body. So I've got 3 sugar books, and during all that sugar research, I realized that vitamin C and sugar compete for transportation on insulin. I mean, I never learned that in medical school. And in this competition, if you go to a party, eat a lot of sugar, that's where you can get sick afterwards, because you are um, the body is preferentially taking up the glucose or the sugar, and not allowing vitamin C into the cell to help with the metabolism, with the antioxidant function of getting rid of waste. And the
Mm.
whole thing about vitamin C in humans is we don't make it. In
No.
the in the here's my terrible joke about that, Naomi. In the Garden of Eden, when Eve ate the apple, God said, "Okay, then you deal with your vitamin C. I'm going to take away the enzymes to make your vitamin C." Whereas every other animal species on the planet makes their own vitamin C
Mm.
except apes and bats.
Wow.
Rats make their own vitamin C. What does that do to all the rat studies out there? When the rat is under stress, he or she will produce vitamin C.
Oh,
And to
incredible.
me, that it just ruins all rat research or animal type research. So, what's happened with the vitamin C being uh, competitive with sugar and all that, you end up not making enough collagen
Hmm.
because vitamin C is necessary to
Yeah.
make collagen. Taking a collagen product does not slap collagen
Mm.
onto your onto the 30% of protein that is makes up 30% of the body's protein is collagen. That's huge. And you need vitamin C for that. You don't take vitamin C, your arteries can start having little splits in them and be subject then to cholesterol coming along and acting like a band-aid on that little tiny split.
Mm.
And if you don't have enough magnesium to solubilize calcium in your diet, or if you're still taking calcium supplements, calcium will precipitate on that cholesterol, and that's your plaque, and that's your heart disease.
So you
And
don't,
that's
you shouldn't take calcium on its own. It should always be taken with magnesium.
yes, or you can go by blood tests. I know when I first got my Remag from the chemist and started working with it, I didn't take calcium and I didn't eat dairy for 2 years.
Mm.
And after about 2 years, my knees started to get a bit achy, and I said, "Oh, I need calcium." And
Mm.
that's where I made my Recalcia product. I did everything very selfishly. For the Remag, I had to make a non-laxative magnesium for my heart palpitations. I had terrible heart palpitations, and all the magnesium compounds gave me the laxative effect.
Hmm.
So the whole vitamin C magnesium story is so important. Vitamin C, you can look up Linus Pauling's work.
Yeah.
He wasn't just working on the common cold, he was working on heart disease.
Yeah, that's
And
incredible.
now that I don't know if everybody's on board. Certainly not. They're still pushing statins, but a lot of people are on board with the fact that the statins aren't working. They haven't helped heart disease. Cholesterol is not the problem, but
Mm.
they're trying to say now the problem is uh, LP little a. it's, it's another type of cholesterol. Well, no, don't worry about LDL. LP little a is the problem. So they still are continuing the cholesterol myth. But what Linus Pauling discovered was vitamin C, high dose. We're talking about 5 to 10,000 milligrams,
Mm.
lysine, an amino acid, and proline, an amino acid, are what treats LP little a and higher levels of cholesterol.
Yeah.
So that's new.
That's
In my world, I'm known as the magnesium person, but soon I'll be known as the magnesium and vitamin C person.
the amazing thing is, Carol, I feel like the research used to be talking about, oh, electrolyte deficiencies. Now it feels like magnesium is being looked at much more seriously these days because it's implicated in so many health issues if you're running low. And they've even found recently that most people are mildly deficient, which probably doesn't surprise you or me. Because if you think about the poor quality of the soil, the stress in people's lives, the drugs that many people are on that actually eat away at magnesium stores. And what I wanted to ask you though, because we're going into the lovely sunny season here in the UK, we're so blessed and lucky to have that coming, some warm weather. Um, I want to remind people that it's all good and well sunbathing or taking some vitamin D and thinking, oh, I'm lapping all the vitamin D up. But actually, if you don't have enough magnesium in your system, you will not utilize vitamin D. And my sister lives in Dubai, sunbathes a lot, and was found to be very deficient in vitamin D. And they realized it was because her magnesium was low. So, can you just reiterate the importance of magnesium at this time of year when you want to take advantage of the sunlight and build up your vitamin D score?
Yes. Well, basically, when vitamin D goes through many biochemical steps, it requires magnesium in
Mhm.
a lot of those steps. I mean, some people say 6 out of 8 steps.
Mm.
I'd have to confirm that. So
Mhm.
magnesium activates vitamin D. I have
Mhm.
had people who've said, "Oh, I got put on high dose vitamin D." And back in the day, they'd put people on 50,000 international units of synthetic vitamin D, and they'd start developing their old magnesium deficiency symptoms because
Yeah.
all their magnesium went to try to metabolize this high dose vitamin D. So I learned early on from listening to my patients and customers that it is crucial. And when you look at the vitamin D studies, they're all over the map because they're not factoring in the magnesium aspect of activating it. So we've got real problems in nutritional science. Uh, there's a whole story there. Like when I started writing up my report on the Maui reset study, I call it, I realized that nutritional science is really corrupt.
Mm.
And I started to write another book. I call it the tarnished gold standard of nutritional science because they try to, they meaning, let's say big pharma. Big pharma puts all the research money out to the universities and the hospitals. There's not a lot of free money out there. So they're researching under the randomized control double blind placebo model of drug research, and they're just studying one nutrient at a time.
Mm.
So they do that with vitamin D. They don't even factor in magnesium, and they get botched results.
Mm.
So what I did with my Maui reset study, I put all 7 of them together and say, have at it. Let's see what happens, because that's real world research.
Mm.
It's not picking and choosing and cherry picking.
Mhm.
And nutritional research, I mean, I knew this 50 years ago when the sugar lobby groups buried research that showed that sugar was causing heart disease. They buried that so fast and they blamed cholesterol and saturated fats for heart disease. And look where we ended up. We're still fighting the statin monopoly, the multi-billion-dollar industry.
Mhm. Okay. So basically, you feel around this time and when you want to absorb your vitamin D or take magnesium when you're sunbathing, yeah?
Yeah, I have my people, my customers. I say take vitamin D supplements every day, take magnesium every day. Be aware of your symptoms.
Mhm.
As people that go to the beach and get extra sun, they do need extra magnesium.
Yeah, you do for sure.
Yeah,
Um, the other thing, Caroline, there's some amazing new research on magnesium and Alzheimer's. Do you know a lot about the latest research?
yeah. What was my book? I did a book on mental health,
Yeah.
and one of the things I came across was every neuron, every brain cell Brain cells are called neurons. Every neuron has 2 million mitochondria.
Hmm.
The heart, how many mitochondria in a heart muscle cell? 5,000.
Wow.
5,000, 2,000,000. It's just astronomical. What happens in mitochondria? We make ATP energy, adenosine triphosphate, in the Krebs cycle. Now, I've never been able to find a number of how many Krebs cycles are going on in these mitochondria. It's probably thousands and thousands. What's needed in the Krebs cycle to make ATP energy? Magnesium.
Hmm.
What is the chemical formula for ATP? Uh, what is it really? It's Mg-ATP. Everybody will agree on that. So in the brain, you've got 2 million mitochondria making thousands and thousands of Krebs cycle function, and you need magnesium to do that. What do I think is causing all these brain diseases? I think it's magnesium deficiency, dementia,
Hmm.
Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, all of these. Because what's magnesium also doing? It is a heavy metal. I don't know if you can say chelator, but
Yeah.
magnesium will help detox heavy metals. What happens in the receptor sites around uh, the cells? They
Mhm.
have areas for minerals to attach, mineral receptor sites. If you don't have all those receptor sites bound up with minerals and doing their job, heavy metals will force themselves into those receptor sites. Now, you have a chance of getting rid of the heavy metals by just, oh, that cell's going to die. Make sure you're saturated with your minerals. I work with my Remag, a multiple mineral, the Remite. It's got 12 minerals. 9 of them are necessary for thyroid function. I've got a potassium because potassium and magnesium work like brother and sister, or maybe they work like married folk. And also silver. I've got a pico silver that far outdoes the colloidal silvers. All these minerals need to be saturating your cells to make sure that the heavy metals have no place to land.
The other amazing thing I came across, Carolyn, was the most interesting mechanism. It seemed to be that low brain magnesium increases excitotoxicity, which I found was really interesting.
Right.
So
That
it stops, when you have enough magnesium, it stops the brain being overexcited.
right. Um, Here's what we found out with our customers. It applies clinically.
Mm.
After 2 or 3 months, a number of our customers have had started to say in the beginning that they had felt so much better at the beginning of the remag, and then 2 or 3 months in, they say, "Oh my gosh, I've got itchy eyes, itchy ears, and I've got a coated tongue. I just don't feel as well as I used to." So what was happening? They were in a yeast detox. Their
Wow.
yeast overgrowth had caught up with them. Their body was now strong enough to detoxify, because magnesium is absolutely, well, if it's required for 80% of known metabolic functions, it's probably required for 80% of detoxification.
Hmm.
So at that point, we'd make sure they were on our Realign, which is methylated and food-based Bs. The methyl detoxification pathways in the liver are important. And I put in 2 sulfur-based amino acids, methionine and taurine, and there are sulfur detoxification pathways in the liver. And also, I work with a really gentle antifungal that I had to make for myself, because seriously, I have spent 10 whole years on a yeast free diet, avoiding sugar, wheat, and dairy. It was just heck to go through that. And it still didn't get rid of my yeast. It wasn't until I made this Flora Revive formula which has Saccharomyces boulardii, which is
I love
a,
that.
a natural antifungal probiotic. Saccharomyces, it's like a yeast itself, but it bumps out Candida albicans.
Mm,
And that and inulin and humic fulvic for prebiotic and minerals and all the rest of it. So, and that along with Pico Silver, we have a real winner to help people on a daily basis, because people just can't be as strict as we used to tell them to be. People are under too much stress to have very strict diets. They just don't follow them,
it's
and
too
then they
much.
feel
Yeah.
guilty.
Pardon?
And then they feel guilty. Well, I had some sugar. No, no, you eat a whole food diet. I mean, my whole thing is about good food. I
Mm,
put most of my resources into we're up to now 76-acre biodynamic organic farm here, because I believe so much in trying to be self-sustaining. When I
mm,
moved to Maui almost 20 years ago, I learned that we import 90% of our food from mainland.
mm,
And we are a paradise of, you
mm.
know, year round ability to grow anything. So that the diet is important, but then I think the nutrients are so necessary. I've tried to eat focused on just farm food. I can't do it. I need the animal protein and I need my minerals.
Mhm. The trouble is as well, Carolyn, with the magnesium, because they just generally do the serum test. It's such a poor marker, isn't it? So I'll have people coming to me and they'll say, "Oh, my magnesium is fine," but it's not the correct way to test for magnesium, is it?
No, no, we worked on that with our university studies where we tested people using the ionized magnesium test. It
Hmm.
tests the ions that are what gets into the cells. And that's where our remag is so important, because it is a stabilized ion of magnesium. When we did our Purdue study, we had our human subjects take a
Mm.
teaspoon of remag and then tested their blood after 2 hours, and their ionized magnesium was very high, was very
That
good.
was that using a red blood cell test?
Ionized magnesium test.
Not heard,
It's
I
a
haven't heard of
whole
that.
new test. It's
Wow.
it's used in university hospitals mostly. You
Hmm.
find it in ICUs, but
Oh.
we found on that study, actually, because we froze some of the blood. We found after 2 years you could unfreeze the blood, and it still tested the same as 2 years prior. So it's a test that people can freeze it and send it off and have it tested at a facility that has this ionized magnesium machinery. So it's another test that is so necessary, but
Mm.
it's not the standard. Nobody's pushing it. Nobody's funding it. So people are are consistently getting poor readings. The serum magnesium test is so poor at
Mm.
knowing how much magnesium is available that they don't even put it on an electrolyte panel. You just look at your blood tests. What calcium, chloride, potassium, there's no magnesium there. Sodium, no magnesium.
You
So
really have to go on your symptoms a lot, I think.
yeah, yeah.
You have
And
to.
even then, yeah, yeah. We I didn't
Talking,
learn anything in medical school about nutrients. Yeah, go ahead, Naomi.
I just wanted to end on talking about the heart, Caroline, because it's what makes us really the heart, and you know more than anyone the importance of magnesium and heart health. And I regularly speak to people who have heart palpitations or feel anxious around the heart, or they've got all varying heart issues. And really, the heart is so wonderful, and we don't really appreciate the wonder of this incredible organ. And I was saying to you earlier that I wrote about something called the heart gems a few years ago now, And there was a few things that I found astounding when I was writing. One of them was that when a baby is growing in the womb, the heart will start to form at 5 weeks before the brain does, which is incredible. The other thing is that more information is sent from the heart to the brain than the brain down, which is another incredible thing. And another amazing study found that if you put the heart cells in a petri dish, they will start beating in unison. I mean, that blows my mind. And so
Mhm.
to finish off, because the heart is at the center of our emotions, our physical health, spirituality, how we feel on a day to day basis, I think we really feel things here, gut, and then finally the head. Please, can you tell people the importance of magnesium? I mean, I used to suffer from palpitations, still do from time to time if I don't have enough magnesium. But it's one of the most important requirements, isn't it, for the heart? And I've got an A&E doctor friend, and he said, you know, if someone was basically dying, the first thing they would do would give them a magnesium infusion so that they'd bring the heart. He literally said it was a miracle drug, giving them
Ah,
magnesium. A
yeah.
miracle drug, he said. He wrote a lovely paper for me about it, actually. He actually witnessed a man come to life, literally come back to life after being given magnesium. So, um, Caroline, what do you think if you meet someone who's got palpitations, heart irregularity, pressure in the chest, feeling like out of breath and feeling anxious? Isn't magnesium one of the first things to give somebody?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And potassium as well. I mean, a
Yeah.
lot of people, they'll read my books and think, oh, just magnesium is enough. But oh, I'm not quite
Yeah.
there yet. Okay, do potassium. But there's also the fact that with atrial fibrillation, which is almost epidemic now,
Mhm.
it can happen after you have surgery because you drain all your magnesium, or the fluoride inhaled anesthetic will bind up your magnesium and cause you to wake up with low magnesium and heart palpitations. And then they'll put you on drugs that are fluoride drugs, actually. So, with atrial fibrillation, you can have heart scarring,
Mhm.
which may need to have more ablation, more disrupt the whole area because it's erratic with the scarring. So there are some people we would never say, oh, magnesium will cure a heart arrhythmia. You've got to always get your testing, but make sure you're doing your magnesium as well. It's the most important electrolyte. And
Mhm.
as I said, you're not even being tested for it. So this
No.
is where podcasts like yours and reading about magnesium is so important. But let me just say this other thing about the heart. The heart is in a little basket called the pericardium. The heart is separate from the body. It sort of exists on its own. So it's got that other incredible aspect to it that people don't even think about. Yeah, the heart is amazing.
The heart is amazing, Carol, and I think and everything flows from the heart as well. And
Mhm.
even they found that if you're in a room full of people for some period of time and you all have good vibes amongst each other, your hearts also start beating in unison, which I think is incredible. So we really have got to look after the heart, and especially these days because there's so much tension around. There's a lot of things happening around the world that upset people, and I think it really affects their heart. By the way, I think that the stress and the worry and the concern of instability around the world at the moment just puts another level on top of us all. So we have to make sure we're eating correctly, keeping these nutrients optimal, our minerals
Mm,
optimal. I mean, every morning I've got a new way of having my remag and my remite. I literally now
yeah.
um, I blitz up in my food processor whole organic lemons, the whole thing, with the pith and
Mm,
the skin and the peel, and then I put them in ice cube trays into the freezer. Just because it's quick for me in the morning. I take two out every morning, put them in a cup. I add some hot water to dissolve the ice cubes. And then I add your Reamite and your Reamag and a pinch of salt
Mm-hmm.
and some raw honey. And that's how I start my day. And I do really feel it wakes my cells up.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell everyone to do the same. I mean, I know you're advised to have it over the day and a litre of water over the day. But if people are going to forget to do that, at least have it in the morning and, you've
Mm-hmm.
had it.
Mm-hmm.
It's such an amazing product.
I know a lot of people say, "Oh, it's so strong and everything." You can just put. I tell people put it in your coffee or tea,
You can't
but just
taste it if you put it in
yeah,
a drink.
right.
It is strong if you don't. Funnily enough, though, I meet some patients that actually love the taste,
It's
which is
true.
interesting.
Yeah.
They put it in water and they don't mind that mineral taste, which makes me think they really, really are responding well and they actually need to have it. Um,
Yes.
but Caroline, thank you so much for your time again today. And we'll keep up the good fight of informing people and helping people. I love that. That's an amazing thing. And you carry on doing your amazing pioneering work, which is changing lives, literally changing lives, by the way.
Mm,
Um, and it's such a pleasure to always hear your news and the wonderful research you've just had going on and the experience you've had
mm,
with that lady. I mean, for me, that was just wonderful
mm,
to hear that and so encouraging.
mhm. Yes, and thank you for the work you've been doing for decades and decades, and your father before you. We just have this mission that is our life and our love, and I appreciate what you're doing. Thank you.
Thank you, Caroline.